What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about negotiation was wrong? That the secret to getting what you want isn't about being tough or giving in, but about mastering the art of empathy and tactical listening? Sounds counterintuitive, right? Well, that's exactly what former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss reveals in his groundbreaking book, Never Split the Difference. Introduction. Never split the difference. Negotiating as if your life depended on it is a game-changing guide to negotiation written by Chris Voss, a former lead international kidnapping negotiator for the FBI. With decades of experience in high-stakes situations, where lives literally hung in the balance, Voss shares the psychological tactics and strategies he used to diffuse crises and get results. But here's the kicker. These techniques aren't just for hostage situations. They're for everyday life, whether you're negotiating a salary, buying a car, or even dealing with your kids. This book is worth summarizing because it flips the script on traditional negotiation methods. Forget about win-win scenarios or hardball tactics. Voss teaches us how to harness the power of empathy, curiosity, and strategic communication to get what we want, without compromising our values or relationships. 1. Tactical empathy, the secret weapon in negotiation. The cornerstone of Voss's approach is something he calls tactical empathy. This isn't about being nice or sympathetic. It's about understanding the emotions and perspectives of the other person so deeply that you can influence their decisions. For example, imagine you're negotiating a raise with your boss. Instead of listing all the reasons you deserve it, you might say, "It seems like you're under a lot of pressure to keep the budget tight right now." This shows you understand their position, which makes them more likely to listen to your request. Voss emphasizes that people want to feel heard and understood. When you validate their emotions, they become more open to collaboration. It's not about manipulation. It's about building trust and rapport. But tactical empathy goes beyond just understanding emotions. It's about using that understanding to guide the conversation in a way that benefits both parties. For instance, if you're negotiating with a supplier who seems hesitant to lower their prices, you might say, "It sounds like you're concerned about maintaining your profit margins. What if we could find a way to reduce costs without cutting into your bottom line?" This approach not only shows empathy, but also opens the door to creative solutions. 2. The power of the no. Most of us are taught to avoid no at all costs. But Voss argues that no is one of the most powerful tools in negotiation. Why? Because no gives people a sense of control and safety. It allows them to feel like they're making a choice, not being forced into something. For instance, if you're trying to sell a product and the customer says, "I'm not sure this is right for me," instead of pushing harder, you might say, "It sounds like this isn't the right fit for you right now." Is that fair to say? This gives them permission to say no, which paradoxically makes them more open to exploring other options. Voss teaches us to embrace no as a starting point, not a roadblock. It's a way to uncover objections and address them head-on. For example, if you're negotiating a contract and the other party says, "We can't agree to these terms," you might respond, "What specifically about these terms doesn't work for you?" This approach not only clarifies their concerns, but also shows that you're willing to listen and adapt. The power of no lies in its ability to create a safe space for honest communication. When people feel free to say no, they're more likely to engage in a meaningful dialogue that leads to mutually beneficial outcomes. 3. Mirroring. The art of repeating keywords. One of the simplest yet most effective techniques Voss shares is mirroring. This involves repeating the last few words or key phrases the other person says. It sounds almost too easy, but it works because it shows you're listening and encourages the other person to elaborate. For example, if someone says, "I'm not sure we can afford this," you might respond, "Not sure you can afford this?" This subtle repetition keeps the conversation flowing and often leads to more information. Mirroring is especially useful in tense situations because it de-escalates emotions and builds connection. It's like holding up a mirror to the other person's words, helping them feel understood. But mirroring isn't just about repeating words. It's about creating a rhythm in the conversation that fosters trust and openness. For instance, if you're negotiating with a client who says, "We need more time to make a decision," you might mirror by saying, "More time to make a decision?" This simple technique can lead to deeper insights, such as the client revealing that they're waiting on approval from a higher-up or need more information before committing. 4. Labeling. Name the emotion to tame it. Another powerful tool in Voss's arsenal is labeling. This involves identifying and verbalizing the other person's emotions. By giving a name to what they're feeling, you show empathy and diffuse tension. For instance, if a colleague seems frustrated during a meeting, you might say, "It seems like you're feeling overwhelmed by the timeline." This not only validates their emotion, but also opens the door for them to explain further. Labeling is particularly effective in high-stakes negotiations because it helps you navigate emotional landmines. When people feel understood, they're more likely to cooperate. But labeling isn't just about identifying negative emotions. It's also about recognizing positive ones. For example, if a client seems excited about a new product feature, you might say, "It seems like you're really excited about this new feature." This not only reinforces their positive feelings, but also strengthens your connection with them. The key to effective labeling is to be genuine and specific. Avoid generic statements like, "I understand how you feel," and instead focus on articulating the exact emotion they're experiencing. This level of precision shows that you're truly tuned in to their perspective. 5. The accusation audit. Disarm criticism before it starts. Ever walked into a negotiation feeling like the other person already has a negative opinion of you? Voss introduces the accusation audit as a way to preemptively address those concerns. This involves listing all the negative things the other person might be thinking about you before they even say them. For example, if you're negotiating with a client who's unhappy with your service, you might start by saying, "You probably think we dropped the ball on this project, that we didn't prioritize your needs, and that we're not committed to making it right." By acknowledging their potential criticisms up front, you take the wind out of their sails and show that you're not afraid to confront the issue. The accusation audit is a bold move, but it works because it demonstrates honesty and vulnerability. It shifts the dynamic from adversarial to collaborative. But the accusation audit isn't just about disarming criticism. It's also about building trust. When you openly acknowledge your shortcomings, you show that you're willing to take responsibility and work toward a solution. This level of transparency can transform a contentious negotiation into a productive partnership. 6. The Black Swan. Uncover hidden information. Voss introduces the concept of the Black Swan, a piece of hidden information that, when discovered, can completely change the course of a negotiation. These are the unknowns that the other person hasn't revealed, but that hold the key to unlocking the deal. For example, in a salary negotiation, the Black Swan might be that the company is about to lose a key employee and desperately needs someone with your skills. By asking open-ended questions and listening carefully, you can uncover these hidden factors and use them to your advantage. The key to finding black swans is curiosity. Instead of focusing on what you want, focus on understanding the other person's needs, fears, and motivations. But uncovering a black swan isn't just about asking the right questions. It's also about paying attention to subtle cues and patterns. For instance, if a supplier keeps mentioning how busy they are, it might indicate that they're overextended and willing to negotiate on price to secure your business. The discovery of a black swan could be a game changer in any negotiation. It allows you to pivot your strategy and address the other party's underlying concerns, leading to more favorable outcomes for both sides. 7. The calibrated question: how to ask for what you want without demanding it. One of the most powerful tools in Voss's toolkit is the calibrated question. These are open-ended questions designed to guide the other person towards your desired outcome without making them feel pressured or defensive. For example, instead of saying, "You need to lower your price," you might ask, "How am I supposed to afford this at the current price?" This approach shifts the focus from demanding to problem-solving, making the other person more likely to engage in a constructive dialogue. Calibrated questions are particularly effective because they encourage the other person to think critically about their position and come up with solutions that work for both parties. For instance, if you're negotiating a contract and the other party is resistant to your terms, you might ask, "What would it take to make this work for both of us?" This question not only opens the door to compromise, but also reinforces the idea that you're working towards a mutually beneficial outcome. The key to crafting effective calibrated questions is to focus on the other person's perspective and frame the question in a way that encourages collaboration. Avoid questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no, and instead aim for questions that require thoughtful consideration and elaboration. 8. The Rule of Three: How to ensure agreement is genuine. Voss introduces the Rule of Three as a way to ensure that the other person is truly committed to an agreement. This involves getting them to agree to the same thing 3 times in different ways. For example, if you're negotiating a business deal, you might first ask, "Do you agree with the terms we've discussed?" Then, later in the conversation, you might say, "Just to confirm, you're comfortable moving forward with this, right?" Finally, you might ask, "So, we're all set to finalize this agreement?" The Rule of Three works because it reinforces the other person's commitment and ensures that they're not just agreeing to end the conversation. It's a way to test their sincerity and make sure that both parties are on the same page. But the Rule of Three isn't just about verbal agreements. It's also about observing behavior. If the other person consistently follows through on their commitments, it's a good sign that the agreement is genuine. However, if they repeatedly backtrack or make excuses, it may indicate that they're not fully committed. 9. The Ackerman Model: A Step-by-Step Guide to Negotiating Price. Voss shares a specific framework for negotiating price called the Ackerman Model. This 6-step process is designed to help you reach a fair and favorable price without resorting to hardball tactics. Set your target price. Determine the ideal price you want to pay or receive. Set your first offer. Start with an offer that's significantly lower or higher than your target price. Use calibrated questions. Ask questions that guide the other person towards your target price. Use the Rule of Three. Get the other person to agree to the price 3 times in different ways. Use empathy and labeling. Acknowledge the other person's perspective and emotions. Use the non-monetary offer. If necessary, offer something non-monetary, like a bonus or additional service, to close the deal. The Ackerman Model is particularly effective because it combines strategic planning with tactical empathy. It's a structured approach that allows you to negotiate with confidence while maintaining a positive relationship with the other party. 10. The Importance of Silence: Letting the other person fill the void. One of the most underrated tools in negotiation is silence. Voss emphasizes that silence can be incredibly powerful because it creates space for the other person to think, reflect, and ultimately reveal more information. For example, if you just made an offer and the other person seems hesitant, resist the urge to fill the silence with more arguments or concessions. Instead, stay quiet and let them respond. Often, they'll reveal their true concerns or even make a counteroffer that's more favorable to you. Silence is particularly effective when combined with other techniques like mirroring and labeling. For instance, if you've just labeled the other person's emotion, it seems like you're feeling unsure about this decision. Follow it up with silence. This gives them the opportunity to elaborate and share more about their perspective. The key to using silence effectively is to remain calm and patient. It can be uncomfortable to sit in silence, but the rewards are often worth it. By letting the other person fill the void, you gain valuable insights and create opportunities for collaboration. 11. The power of that's right. How to seal the deal. Voss introduces the concept of that's right as a critical moment in any negotiation. When the other person says that's right, it signifies that they feel understood and are ready to move forward. For example, if you're negotiating a contract and the other party says, that's right, we need to ensure that the timeline is realistic, it's a sign that you've successfully addressed their concerns and are on the path to agreement. The key to eliciting that's right response is to use tactical empathy, labeling, and calibrated questions to fully understand the other person's perspective. When they feel heard and validated, they're more likely to express genuine agreement. But that's right isn't just about sealing the deal. It's also about building a lasting relationship. When the other person feels understood, they're more likely to trust you and work with you in the future. 12. The art of saying no without saying no. Voss teaches us that sometimes the best way to say no is to avoid saying it altogether. Instead, you can use phrases like, how am I supposed to do that? Or, what would it take to make this work? To express your concerns without shutting down the conversation. For example, if a client asks for an unrealistic deadline, you might respond, how am I supposed to deliver this by next week without compromising quality? This approach not only communicates your limitations, but also invites the client to reconsider their request. The art of saying no without saying no is about maintaining a collaborative tone while standing your ground. It's a way to protect your interests without damaging the relationship. 13. The importance of preparation. Know your BATNA. Voss emphasizes the importance of preparation in any negotiation. One key aspect of preparation is knowing your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. For example, if you're negotiating a job offer, your BATNA might be another job offer or the option to stay in your current role. Knowing your BATNA gives you leverage and helps you make informed decisions during the negotiation. But preparation isn't just about knowing your BATNA. It's also about understanding the other party's needs, fears, and motivations. The more you know about the other person, the better equipped you'll be to navigate the negotiation and achieve your desired outcome. 14. The role of body language. Nonverbal cues matter. Voss highlights the importance of body language in negotiation. Nonverbal cues like eye contact, posture, and facial expressions can convey confidence, empathy, and sincerity. For example, maintaining eye contact shows that you're engaged and attentive, while leaning slightly forward can signal interest and openness. On the other hand, crossed arms or a furrowed brow might indicate defensiveness or disagreement. The key to using body language effectively is to be aware of your own nonverbal cues and to pay attention to the other person's. By aligning your body language with your words, you can create a more cohesive and persuasive message. 15. The power of patience. Slow down to speed up. Voss reminds us that negotiation is often a slow process. Rushing to close the deal can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, and missed opportunities. For example, if you're negotiating a complex contract, take the time to thoroughly review the terms, ask questions, and address any concerns. By slowing down, you can ensure that both parties are fully aligned and committed to the agreement. The power of patience lies in its ability to create a more thoughtful and deliberate negotiation process. When you take the time to fully understand the other person's perspective and explore all possible options, you're more likely to reach a mutually beneficial outcome. Conclusion. So, there you have it, the core principles of Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Whether you're negotiating a business deal, resolving a conflict, or just trying to get your kids to eat their vegetables, these strategies can help you achieve better outcomes without sacrificing your relationships. But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to dive deeper into the art of negotiation and learn even more advanced techniques, I highly recommend reading the full book. It's packed with real-life examples, practical exercises, and insights that can transform the way you communicate. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more book summaries, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's the most challenging negotiation you've ever faced? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy negotiating.